Today we are processing a whole bunch of cuttings. We're doing hardwood cuttings off the back of the truck of elderberry and currants. We're getting ready for shipping and local handoff of plant material. You can see what Juan has been up to this morning, processing some beautiful red currants and black currants and the like. And what we're actively chipping away at right now is processing specifically black locust roots. And this video, the focus of this video will be our workflow for both processing the roots. In this case, these are Shipmast locusts. They're an improved cultivar that makes really beautiful straight stem trees. And by digging up some of their roots, we are able to clone those trees, to propagate them by taking the roots, processing them, getting them into a warm context to promote callousing. I'm going to explain all that in this video, so stick around.
We are taking these roots that we harvested yesterday and are cutting them up into about two-ish inches lengths, and that's a pretty flexible number. But the other important piece as we're processing them is to keep the orientation as much as possible. So in this root, we know that it came away from the tree in this way, so we'll try to keep that same orientation.
We still have some more roots to process through, but we've got enough that we can move some of them forward. These are the really nice ones that we'll be using to ship to folks. These are actually the size that we're going to work with. Believe it or not, root that's been really dinged in the process of being dug up or has some wounding, 100% they'll root. These will root as well, as scrawny as those are, so we'll plant those for ourselves. But I wanted to demonstrate, you can see where we've been keeping the orientation. These all face back towards the tree. But I want to also explain how you can do this if you lost that orientation. So I'm going to take a few. This represents basically what you'd expect if you were to get root cuttings from us. And these are all facing back towards the tree. Bunch of different ways you can go about this. Here's one of the simplest and least challenging ways to do it. Standard pot, in this case it's a gallon pot. I've got some decent quality garden soil. You could use bought potting mix, but I think good garden soil will work just fine too. I have it filled most of the way, half of the way, and I'm simply going to take these cuttings and push them into the soil with the orientation facing up. And what I'm not worried about is giving them a ton of space, because the first step in this process is to communally pot them up, get them covered in a little bit of nice media. So again, this is just good garden soil. I want them covered but not deeply buried. And you can see it made it easier to put them in first and then cover them the rest of the way with potting mix or soil. Put my tag in there so I don't lose it, and then keep this pot somewhere that is warm for a month or so, or until you see sprouts. We're at the end of March in cold New York State, and so this could be something that lives on top of a radiator in a little dish. It could be on a heat mat if that's what you have, or relatively near a wood stove. You want to keep them warm, let's say vaguely in the mid 70 Fahrenheit range, until you start seeing sprouts. And if you're doing this towards the end of March, tends to be that you get nice sized callus plants that are beginning to sprout by around mid-May, and then they can then be teased apart and actually planted out into a nursery bed with, let's say, 6 to 10 inches between them. So this is going to be a way to take this cuttings, get them warm and calloused and sprouting in preparation for the growing season. Slight alteration on that. Here is a tray. You could use any sort of wide, flat. This would sit nicely on a heat mat if that's what you wanted to work with. In this case, let's say we lost the orientation. They got jumbled, you dropped them. Oh man, which way faces the tree? No worries, you can lay them on their side, next to one another, with soil on top. Similar picture to what happened here. What will happen is the cutting will decide which end is the root and which end is the shoot. And it'll look a little weird when they're just starting out, but when you go to plant them, by the end of the season, it all works itself out. So Don't get stressed out about perfect orientation or, oh, I think this might be upside down. When in doubt, lay them on their side. And that becomes a universal rule for any root propagation in our experience. With comfrey, with sea kale, if we're doing sour cherries or any sort of plants we're experimenting with root propagation, orientation is nice, but if that's lost, on their side is a very close, good second. It's a good reminder that, sure, these are really lovely, nice thick cuttings with absolutely no damage. They root, but these also root really beautifully too. And by the end of the season, if they have the time to get nice and warm and be protected and start sprouting a little early, and then they're transplanted out to a nursery bed with some room, this size or this size can become upwards to 6 feet tall by the end of the first season. And for reference, entirely the plants that we'll be propagating for a nursery will come from this pile. We won't send these out. These are scrawners. They've got tons of damage. Some of them were ripped pretty thoroughly when they were dug up. Some of them are just the very, very tips and really dry. I would guess these will root and send up beautiful plants at least 60 to 80%. So there's a really wide tolerance here, but the key is upon receipt of these plants, if you get them from us, these cuttings, that you get them in decent quality media and you keep them nice and warm as though you're trying to start tomato seeds. This is a flat we'll use for our propagation in-house, and that is just an utter mess and will probably work pretty nicely. You can see all the variations on the theme of how you can lay in these roots. The first flat for our in-house propagation is covered in media, but we'll mulch it too. And Juan's finishing up our second one. That'll probably be all we need for the number of trees we're hoping to grow this year.
That's our process of starting our Black Locust, our Shipmast starts. So please let us know in the comments if you have any questions or if you have found any better ways of doing this. Thank you.
We will absolutely make an update on how those flats that we set in motion root out and what our next steps are. But if you're getting some Shipmast from us, it'd be nice to know a good way to get them started.